Are we almost live? Are we live? All right, and welcome to day 2 of Australian Ultimate Championships here in beautiful Runaway Bay. Live streaming coverage brought to you by Ultimate Australia. This morning we've got a cracker game between Newcastle's I-Beam and Sublime from Perth. Both of these teams looking forward to a great start to day 2, I think. I'm Max Tenstrom. I'll be keeping you company today, and alongside me is Phil Shields.
Thanks, Max. Yeah, it's great to be here on this beautiful sunny morning we've got here with a slight breeze just behind our backs. You can see their flags over in the far there. That slight breeze left to rightish, I'd say. You know, they could put zone on occasionally, but I probably wouldn't say it's going to be mandatory at this point in time. It's not going to give any team too great an advantage. So we've got Sublime with Paul Wright starting on the right, pulling to I-Beam. Game on at the moment. There goes the hands for both sides, and we have Ha about to do the pull for Sublime. Let's see what they get up to. And there goes the pull from Ha. As you can see, the wind's just taking it over to the far side of the field.
All right, immediately fielded by John Greenfield, who centres to Davey and hits Hill underneath. Expect those three names to be getting a lot of disc. And Hill looks deep. And that's a beautiful start to the game. Stoddard, lefty as he's known, reels the first one in. A beautiful throw from Hill out in front.
Yeah, that was a nice cut deep, and Asphalt had no chance of getting that. That was a beautiful huck. He tried, stopped that under, but the deep huck got off, and that's a good way for I-Beam to open their account, just to let Sublime know that they're here for business and they're going to do what they can to score goals quickly, the old one pull play.
Yeah, absolutely, and you saw I-Beam there running out of their typical side stack. That's vintage I-Beam. They've been playing that structure for years, and it's clearly still working well for them. It's a really powerful structure. It allows you to isolate one big cutter in the lane, and it makes the defender make some difficult choices. So in that case, we saw the decision made to try and take away the under. And obviously when you take one thing away, you've got to give up something else. Gave away the deep. And when you've got a thrower as confident as Hill with the disc, it's very difficult to stop everything. And you saw the nice inside-out backhand, beating the mark a little bit, and then just putting it beautifully out in space. Stoddard had plenty of space to run onto. He's obviously got plenty of pace to work with. And it was a nice goal and a nice start to the game for I-Beam. That's 1-0.
Let's see what Sublime's offense have got to offer in response to that. We've got game advisors in yellow, as you can see, both ends at the moment, and occasionally you'll hear a whistle in the background just to let them know that that's the time to hurry up and put the pull. And there it goes. That's a lovely pull. That's going to land just on the end zone line. Lets it drop in front of him. Straight away throws to Bocci. Bocci in the middle, off to Eli. Eli back to Bocci. Nice down the far sideline. McMorrin with the disc, swings it back to the middle. They're going to swing it to the near side. There's been a pick call in there, slowing everything down. They'll probably go back to Bocci. Wind's just picked up behind me, so anything coming towards the camera at the moment is probably like to just float, maybe even lift a little. They're just going to have to be on top of that.
Yesterday we saw a lot of zone being played on this field in response to that wind, but so far both teams playing match defense, and we'll see how long they stick to that.
Same cut, looked off this time though. That's a beautiful cut in from the deep by Kelly. Looking for the dump. Nice wide swing there. Nice movement. It's very quick movement. That's good to see. Sublime are looking good at the moment, and they open their account. That's a beautiful score, although there is a call on that. It's going to be taken back.
I'm not sure what that call was, maybe a pick in the stack, but the movement looked really smooth and there was great flow throughout that offense.
Yeah, solid hands there from Sublime. It's good to see this team out in action, coming all the way basically from the other corner of Australia, from Perth. There's a beautiful disc just to the middle to settle things down, just to open up the angles a little bit. Not a lot of movement from Sublime, but that's okay. There's a nice cut in, and McMorrin takes that quite easily. Again, Sublime with a beautiful answer there. That wasn't the one pull play that I-Beam had, but definitely showed safe set of hands there. Good thinking, good movement, and really, telling I-Beam that no matter what the defense is, they're on single coverage. No matter what the defense you're going to do, we're going to be able to move that disc. We're going to get it free. We're going to find open players, make the cuts from deep to under, and vice versa. So really good movement from Sublime. Really good to see that.
Yeah, and obviously it's quite early in the game, probably too early to be making big statements about how each team's playing, but I'm going to do it anyway. We saw two contrasting styles in those 2 points. I-Beam looking for the deep shot very early on, and then we saw Sublime really content to work it under, trust the full roster, a lot of skill throughout their team, really deep team, which is a credit to the development that's going on over in WA, and work hard with their legs as well, which I think is a bit of a trademark of the Sublime team, always willing to work really hard, use that fitness and athleticism to generate lots of open cuts and eventually get a nice easy 10-metre pass into the end zone. All right, now we have I-Beam on offense. This I-Beam team is actually, while it's notionally from Newcastle, they've got quite a contingent coming up from the south coast of New South Wales, Wollongong and Nowra and that kind of area. So it's a bit of a mixed team. As the pull goes up and we're back in play. Greenfield with the disc. Greenfield's been listed. It's a huge layout and then a bit of a piggyback by Osborne.
Yeah, Osborne with a beautiful layout there, putting in the effort to give his team some chance. O picks up the disc. There's a pick called early on in this play.
This is an opportunity for a break early in the game for Sublime. Let's see if they can put it in.
Nothing on. Looks for Ha. Short cut for Handler. Going across. Ha puts it up. Wynn's going to keep that up. It's going to be a pack. And there he is.
I think that's Michael Vernon.
Yeah, Vernon in there. Beautiful big leap, and expect to see a lot from him. He'll be their mainstay with those discs that go up floaty to the pack. He'll be expected to pull them down like that. And he did a fantastic job there to out-leap, out-read everyone to just pull it back for I-Beam. So they get the first comeback off of a defense point. So now it's 2-1 to Sublime.
Yeah, Michael Vernon using every inch of his, what is probably 6'4", 6'5", maybe even 6'6" frame. He's a big guy, and you can see why he's such an asset to that team. I was chatting to the coach a little earlier, and he mentioned that Michael Vernon's been injured for a lot of this season and hasn't been able to train fully throughout the season, but they had faith in him, and clearly that faith was well-founded as he delivers right there for the first break of the game to make it 2-1 to Sublime. And we'll see how I-Beam can respond. This will be a real test of their resilience. An early break can often be quite demoralising for a team, so we'll see, the older heads on the team prevail here, I'm sure. They'll be telling their team, relax. There's lots of game to go, lots of ultimate to be played here, and anything can happen. Very similar looking offensive line to last point for I-Beam.
Hands up by Sublime, ready for the pull, and there we go. Ha will pull again. He'll be their main puller for Sublime.
Again, it looks like it'll be fielded by John Greenfield to send it to Davey. Those two obviously key handlers for this I-beam line. Davey recently played for Australia over in London as part of the Dingoes squad as they work it up the field to Lindsay Brown, TLB. Reaching long. Chris Hill takes it nicely there. He had a bit of pressure coming from behind, but nice throw out in front.
Yeah, Chan
able to get two hands to it.
Chan couldn't catch up to that one. So we see quite early on definitely what I-beam's method's going to be throughout this, and that is just, you know, handle it as least as possible and put it to their deep cutters. So Sublime need a way to shut that down as well.
Both teams still sticking to their match defense, despite the left to right breeze and away from the camera. Obviously at this level of play, wind is never a completely decisive factor. There's still plenty of throwers that can throw through it. They just have to adjust and be aware. John Damiani, JD, out on the line giving some wisdom to the Sublime boys.
Very experienced WA player, can't ask for any better coach to help the Sublime team.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 2-all. Yeah. If you want, you can like take it up to the sideline or whatever.
There goes the pull. It's a low one. That'll be caught. Straight away to Bocce. There's a horizontal stack formation. That's a lovely cut across the middle there by Kelly. Another one back, Francois. We have a call. Pick call. So at the moment with Sublime structure, we're seeing a lot of cuts coming across the field rather than from the deep. And they're getting little passes up the sideline there. There's another one cut by Mazzari. Didn't quite come off.
And that looks like Steve Dowdle, Scuba Steve as he's known, one of the South Coast crew, walking to pick up the disc, and he'll bring it back into play. I-beam setting up in a horizontal now, maybe taking advantage of the short field, and he immediately shoots deep, but Monty Mazzari elevates, and Sublime on offense.
Yeah, Sublime, nice give goes there, that quick defense. There was that wind. Oh, I think that was strip, definitely. I know he's going to give it up.
And I-beam with the disc now. Dowdle again, giving the old shake of the head, saying cut over there. Moving quickly. Oh.
Francois gets the disc back after giving it up earlier. McMorran with the disc, swinging it across. Oh, big clash. I heard that one from over here. Gets up. That's good to see. Francois with the disc again, doing a lot of movement there. Wanted to put it up deep and long to the cutter. Mazzari bring it down the near side. That's going to stay up in the air. But he brings it down beautifully. That's Kelly, I believe. Yep, Kelly gets to read that. That was a great effort by I-beam to try and lay out to get that.
Dowdle making up some serious distance to get in that contest.
Absolutely, but that was the wind factor in there that just let him get in that contest. But still beautiful bring down by Sublime by Kelly.
And that's 2-3 to Sublime. So a couple of turns at that point. Maybe a sign of things to come. So far it had been relatively clean.
Yeah, I was really happy by Francois from Sublime in that point. The way he just did a lot of movement around the ground, committed to everything, well-spirited, because I actually thought that play in the middle was a strip. I felt he had control. He thought about it for a fraction of a second and then said to IBeam, hey, no, that's fine, you can have that disc. So that was a really good spirit, good play by him. But then to get over the other side and get the defense and then make the movement through the middle was fantastic. There goes the pull from Ha.
And it looks like it'll be Lindsay Brown to pick up. Looks like IBeam setting up in that classic side stack again, isolating Hill in the lane. But this time, not able to get an option that Davey likes. And they'll dump and swing to Hill. Cross to Lindsay Brown, TLB as he's known. To Greenfield, who's listed on their team sheet as one of the new up-and-comers. Obviously, a bit of a stalwart on the Australian scene, having done it all in his time. They reach deep again to Hill, and he's not able to reel it in.
Osborne managed to get the hand on that to get the defense. I think we've got Jennings on Greenfield at the moment doing a fantastic job there. That was a beautiful inside break there to an in-cut and Kanzeri. Oh, with a nice breaks flick there. Nice effort by IBeam on that disc. And a turn there. IBeam get the disc back.
Got Dellywater with it now. Doesn't like what he sees upfield. He's going to have to pass it back. And Davey comes back and provides the outlet valve for him. Breaks the mark nicely. Davey obviously a very strong thrower. We should expect to see him breaking the mark throughout this game. And now Hill reaches to Davey. Davey, great use of the body.
A lot of body in that. He did that
Boxed
very
him
well.
out very well. Looks like there was a call on the field about that amount of body, perhaps. But no, it's a goal.
Yeah, just having a discussion there about the use of the bodies. It's okay to give it up that time, but just saying, hey, look, we've just got to maybe be on top of that. That's a nice pulls misread there by McMorran. And he's going to give the disc up to Bocce this time because it's just slid out the back. No, it might have even landed out the back. So I'm a ground level here. I don't have the same bird's eye view that you guys do. So Sublime liking their host stack here. We've got single coverage going on there, and that just goes out of the hands of Francois. Should have been an easy catch. He'll be disappointed with that one.
All right, and I-beam with the disc now. Tim Booth piloting this offense. Obviously very experienced handler. Dowdle finds De Silva underneath. Gets it straight back. Scuba Steve, as he's known. They're looking to move it quickly. Back in the hands of Booth. He's a crafty thrower, but takes the easy option. And I-beam plays some very calm, collected offense there. Working it upfield and then hitting their player in the front of the end zone. How you want to do it. No risk, high reward.
Yeah, I was watching Francois on that play there, and just let I-beam get in front of him. Gave him the under, basically. And you saw there he was unhappy with his defensive effort there. Knew he should have done a little bit better.
A what? Oh yeah, that'd be amazing. All right, so that takes it to 4-3 to Newcastle. And Booth with the pull.
A little bit of confusion as the wind takes that disc. McMorran picks it up.
It looks like I-beam are playing a zone for the first time this game.
Ely with the disc down the sideline to Kelly. Mazarai with the disc now. Nice movement there, back to Ely. Oh, juggled into the hands. Two people go for it. Sublime come up with it though.
Yeah, Mazarai signalling to sideline to put him down for the assist on that play.
Kelly gets his second though.
Great hands as we see it again here. Fakes, fakes, fakes. Doesn't like what he sees. Eventually swings it, and then the pass into the end zone bounces off the hands of Mazarai, past a bidding defender, and then in for the goal. And that's 4 apiece. And the pull goes up, and I-beam coming out in their horizontal offense again. Sublime sticking to their match defense. And it pays off as Kyle O gets the run-through interception.
Yeah, he read that really well. As soon as it came off of his hand, he was there in that spot. Half settles things down. Wants a big dump. He's not getting it. That's a high stall count probably, but O gets it back after his beautiful D. Bowden in the action for Sublime now. Let's see how he handles the pressure. Wind's just picked up another notch. We've got single coverage by I-beam still. Into the pack. That was to no one in particular. It was more wishful thinking, I think.
Yeah, Chris Hill read that nicely, saw it coming and was the first there. And I-beam looked to get it moving upfield. Dallywater going to ground but keeping it alive. And they get the swing, they get it off that sideline, which can be important in this wind. As Lindsay Brown shoots deep, bit of contact and Hill goes to ground, but I think he's just going to say that's good boxing out.
Yeah, I don't even think Ha knew where the disc was at that point in time. He was just trying to stop the run deep and cover him deep, which in itself was great defense and got the block.
Yeah, team.
Bowden's saying a little bit too much physicality in that. Didn't like the push away. I've been saying if I was just there, I've got legal right to that position just as much as you have, if not more, from stationary. Bowden puts up a big one, looking for Chang. I-beam get there, two I-beam players run, get in the way.
Yeah, Greenfield and Hayes managing to get in that contest. From a defensive perspective, getting two guys in the contest is always a good outcome.
That's just what you need to do, get bodies underneath the disc.
Immediately looking deep by Stoddard, and Davey will put the throw. He boosts it long. Stoddard reels it in and calls a timeout. Now, these have been controversial in the past few weeks. Midpoint timeouts reportedly have an 80% failure rate. So we'll see whether I-beam can buck the trend. Yesterday we saw one. I think it was by the Chucha Chicks of New Zealand, and it worked, but maybe the stat only applies to Australian teams. I'm not sure.
Yeah, an interesting theory there that you have there, Max. We might have to watch that one over the weekend to see whether it just applies to Australian teams. And New Zealand could be exempt, obviously, but we're unsure of that. Maybe then that we don't have enough numbers to call that yet.
Yeah, so what do you think the I-beam leadership are going to be telling their team right now? What's their plan? Disc just a few metres outside the end zone.
I always love guessing as to what teams are going to do. Look, I think they just isolate one man, put the stack over to one side, have a simple isolation. They're right at the front of the end zone. They don't need a lot of room to push it in. So just pick their best player and put it over the top, put it around, let them get free. It's just what I do.
Yeah, keep it simple. I like it. I tend to agree. I think I-beam have the players to get that kind of play working. Got some really quick cutters, agile players. Put them in a bunch of space. As you said, park the stack on the sideline. It should work out well.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to lose it for them in this one is if it's a poor pass, really, or it's just an accidental drop.
Yeah. Though, clearly, I-beam haven't been listening to us. They've got the stack in the middle. They've got it pretty deep. It looks like they put Davey in space.
Yeah, they've got that isolation going there. That's the one we're looking at.
And he's marked up by O.
O's got a big job there. I'd probably, if I was Sublime, I'd put another person out of the stack on that.
Yeah, this will be an interesting first movement here. Immediately looks to the dump. Doesn't want Davey upfield. Now Davey makes a move. And a foul maybe on the mark. And these two have had a couple of calls as they've matched up. Just trying to figure out what's acceptable between each other, what's not. But it's brought back in quickly, which is what we like to see. Hill cutting hard to the front end zone, but Davey goes break side to Dallywater. And nicely breaks the mark with the high release backhand. Finds Dallywater, plenty of space, puts it out in front. It's a nice goal. That's good patience on the offense, by the offense, on the end zone line there. Often teams can get a little bit fixated on throwing the goal in one shot. As we get another look of it. And there you go, the high release backhand breaks the mark nicely. Oh, obviously a very good defender. He's played on the Barramundis last year over in London. But Davey up to the task, beats the mark, and he does a really good job. Kyle O, also commonly known as Brucey, or Bruce, has recently been announced as the head coach of the under-20s open team, Thunder. So, not just a great player, but giving back to the community, helping develop the young talent in Australia. Perth and WA generally known for their big development program over there, and Kyle's played a big part of that as well, building up his experience, coaching up the future of Australian ultimate. And that takes it to 5-4 to Newcastle.
It's a lovely pull that time at Moron. Picks up the disc. Sends it to Bocce. Looks off a couple of cuts in. Not that one. That one's going long. That's got beautiful float on it. And just a little bit too much oomph. That was a beautiful look and a beautiful run deep there.
Yeah, lovely throw. Just a little flat in this wind. It can be pretty difficult to get it to sit with touch when you've got the wind going left to right and away from the camera. So it's not an easy throw, but he had a good go at it. Just a little bit too far. Maybe one too many wheat bix for breakfast. And now I-Beam get an opportunity to respond. Both teams playing horizontal offense. Often a way to open up the deep shots a little bit more, making it very difficult for teams to poach as effectively as they can in a vertical, where you'll often see the deepest defender hang off the back of the stack a little bit and look to get involved in deep shots. As Tim Booth brings it up. De Silva working in that underneath space. And now goes deep. And Booth piloting this offense as always. And he launches one. Looking for Gray. Big pack grab. Mazurai was under that. Ely was under that. Francois was under that. And it's a turnover.
Sublime going into a vert. Francois so free, but the reason for that was a pick. Nice cut there by Mazurai. Big cut there by Francois again. No pick on that one. So that was a big fake deep. Nice one-handed grab there. Mazurai in the picture again. Could be a question as to whether it was caught or in a court.
I think Tim Booth arguing that it may have been down, but it looks like it'll stay with him. Thanks to the game advisors for the nice hand calls there. Woody on the far side doing a good job.
I-Beam just doing enough to put pressure on that and create the D.
Yeah, the bidding defender maybe didn't get a hand on it himself, but often it's enough to know that your defender is bidding behind you to add that little bit of extra pressure, make it all the more difficult, but they give it back softly.
Ely with an easy clean up there. Nice shout upfield by Shield. Ah, lovely clean up.
Yeah, Tim Booth. Veteran move there. Reads the play, gets out in front. Takes it for himself. And we have another pick. I-Beam looking just little bit messy right now. They want to clean up offense, get someone back in that dump space, run their vertical that they've been running on the transition. And it's a cheap turnover again.
Yeah, just a misread there and put a bit too much on it. The cutter was coming quite far towards him, but put a bit much on him, not looking at the angle of that cut. So Sublime just moving around the middle, trying to get free and create some angles for their cutters upfield. That's the angle that they wanted. Francois just moving around in the back, but there's going to be a pick on that. Does tend to move through traffic a bit, so Sublime need to clean up their stack, and Francois needs to also look at where the stack is and try not to lose his player through that. Well, that's going to happen every time. So Sublime now have to go back to just moving around with their handlers, waiting for those cuts. It's a lovely handler cut. Grabs a few more inches on that to get to the line, and that will be our score beautifully for Kelly. Kelly's been their main scorer there. He's got three on the trot for Sublime at the moment, and that even things up to 5 apiece.
Yeah, great patience outside the end zone there by Sublime, willing to chip around, dump swing, and then end up hitting a wide open Kelly in the front corner. So we get another look at it. Oh, no we don't. Oh, yes we do. See, Mazurai, good give go. He's got a very quick first couple of steps. It's hard to stop going up line. And then 1 cut, 2 cut. Thank you. And that's an easy goal in the end. That's 5 apiece. Jeremy Haas had to pull again, and Newcastle got their offensive line out there. They don't seem to have strict O&D lines, though some faces seem to be playing a little bit more O. So we've got Greenfield out here, and Hill, and Davey, and Lindsay Brown, and Dallywater, and Stoddard, and I believe that's Hayes as well. So we'll see what they can do. And they'll take that from halfway back in their own end zone. Stacks relatively deep in the horizontal still. And they get it out of their own end zone now, in front of the bidding defender. Hill does a good job to keep that alive. Nice hands. And Davey boosts one. Nicely out in front of his receiver, making it very easy for Stoddard. Stoddard, obviously, one of the main targets on the offensive line. That's his second goal for the game. And Davey obviously racking up the assists like there's no tomorrow, which won't be a surprise to anyone on this team.
Yeah, as a nice bit of touch on that, just over the head of Vernon. Even with his height, wasn't able to get a read on that or get a hand to it.
Yeah, you see again, it's the outside in backhand. Yeah, Vernon's got a couple of inches on his player, but when the throw's that good, there's not much you can do as a defender sometimes. One of the frustrating things often about playing against Newcastle is you say to yourselves, all right, we're going to take away the unders, we're going to make them throw the hard throws. But then they just keep throwing the hard throws and completing them. They've got a lot of handling prowess on this team, and they're able to complete throws that maybe for other teams would be a little bit more difficult. Maybe the percentages would be a little bit lower, but they've got some real veteran, real skillful throwers. Players like Davey, players like Greenfield, players like Hill, players like Booth. Those 4 very strong throwers. They've got a strong supporting cast as well.
So Sublime with a relatively shorter offensive line on, but they've got their two quicks, Francois and Kelly, in there at the moment.
Yeah, that's cool. Nice, Monty. Cheers.
Oh, it's a beautiful hand and beautiful recovery there.
Oh.
Oh, so unfortunate.
Yeah. Mazerai showing his quick reflexes, managing to regather after the hand block. All around impressive play. Mazerai, a veteran of Australian under-20s and 23s campaigns. Very skillful player. Known for his leaping ability, got a huge vertical. But I-beam with the disc now. Working it round. Stoddard, back to Booth. Eventually they're going backwards now, but they're retaining possession.
Travel caught on that. This is a bit of a change in direction after he caught that.
And the stack's quite deep. They'll want to shorten it up a little bit. Bring it in, give them space to throw into. Davey is a powerful thrower, but it does make it very difficult when the stack's this deep.
Oh.
Floaty one goes over the head of Stoddard, but he's able to regather. And then the little flip into Gray for the goal. Maybe got a little bit lucky with that one. The wind just getting under the front edge of that disc. Davey not able to control it just as much as he'd like. As we see it again. Floats up, over there to Stoddard. But heads up play by him. Sticks out the big left hand. Snags it. And then flips it into Gray, who is coming in to support. And that's a crucial point for Newcastle, putting them on the doorstep of half. Obviously breaking into half is very powerful. I-beam, one of the older teams, as is Sublime, floating around Australian Ultimate. Been around since the mid-2000s. I think Sublime since 04 and I-beam since 06 or 07. I-beam being formed out of the end of a team called Death Star that was an amalgamation of some of the South Coast players, some of Canberra and some of Newcastle. And now it's just a bit of a South Coast and Newcastle team. As they described it to me, steel brings people together. So South Coast, New South Wales and Newcastle, both obviously big steel ports in their day. And the pull goes up from Dowdle. And Newcastle here playing a bit of a transition-y zone. The call's just gone up to match. So they'll transition back into single coverage, but maybe looking to slow down the initial play with a cup around the disc, putting a little bit more pressure on those first few passes.
Sublime matching that zone though, and just moving it out with a few small passes quite nicely. There was a read on that and getting in the way there. Lucky to get away without a call there.
And bubble. Looks like some calls may have been there. Sinclair called a foul, and judging by the response, it's uncontested by Mazerai. We're lucky to have Mazerai at this tournament. He recently had a run-in with a trampoline that required no surgery, so he's fresh off trip to the hospital and he's out here on the field doing work for Sublime. But Hill with the disc now. Back to Booth. Sinclair goes to ground, but Hill cleans it up.
being
And
pushed
IB
back.
maintaining possession, but having to lose a little ground to do so. But it's good composure to hold on to it. And Sinclair reaching for Booth, but a heads-up interception by Sublime. Give them the disc back.
Sublime going to a vert stack. Lovely cut in by Francois. Looking for the cut. Nice inside out there to the near side. Francois to Kelly. It's about 15 metres out from the end zone. Kelly juggles, Francois juggles that one. Puts a bladey one up into the end zone. It's just outside the offensive end zone. Kelly scores another one. That's his 4th. Very happy about that. And that was good movement there in the end by Sublime. A couple of turnovers there by both teams. And so Sublime now trying to claw their way back.
We see it again here. Bobbled by Francois, holds on to it. And a lovely bladey flick to the fat side of the field into lots of space. Ely takes it and nicely turns and hits Kelly. Kelly has been nigh on unstoppable in the small areas around the disc in the end zone. And I think it's a big question for I-Beam how they're going to stop him, if they can slow him down, if they can find a matchup that's effective, because they haven't been able to find one so far.
Yeah, I was just hearing some I-Beam players on the sideline there talking about the quickness there and how they're going to handle that. They didn't have an answer as they were just talking amongst each other. And they still have no answer, obviously, as Kelly is getting free, and Francois as well.
Yeah, it can be tough when there's just a player on the other team that's just essentially quicker than you are, more agile. They might have to look at some kind of zone coverage, something poachy, to provide a little bit more support on him if they can't find a one-on-one matchup that's going to be able to contain his speed and agility and quickness. But Newcastle here on offense, looking to punch it in and take half 8-6. It's a big pull by Ha. I-Beam running out of the side stack, looking for Hill to Davey, but nice work on the mark. Keeps the huck from going up. And then Hill overshoots, but Stoddard elevates above the pack with his right hand, unusually, takes it down. Davey looks to Daliwada, who fumbles. Stoddard again cleans it up. He's on cleanup duty this point. And Hayes gets open on the break side. Well in front of the bidding Ha.
Yeah, Ha with a very late bid there, but willing to put his body on the line just to put the pressure on. So I-Beam take a half.
Yeah, I-Beam done a great job getting out to an early lead. Sublime got one back, but Newcastle take half 8-6. They'll be happy with that half, but there's still obviously work to be done. You can't go to sleep against a team like Sublime. They'll punish you. They've got a decent set of legs on them. They're very fit this year. They've been working hard in their conditioning program throughout the season so that they can finish games strong and play 2 halves of high intensity, high speed ultimate. And we'll see how I-Beam can match them, who are maybe a little older across the board. Some slightly older legs, maybe with a little bit less juice in them. It'll be an interesting matchup of athleticism and speed and fitness against experience and veteran players. Sublime leadership team gathers together. They'll have a chat about what they need to change. We'll see what they can do. The offense has looked reasonably reliable. We've had a fair few cheap turnovers, and the wins obviously caused a few to bubble up from both teams. I think Sublime will just want to stick to their guns, trust their teammates to tidy up some of those execution areas that we've seen trouble them so far. We've had a few throwaways, a few missed catches that maybe shouldn't have been dropped. And they want to tidy that up. And then keep working hard, because at times we've seen Newcastle struggle to keep up with them. And they've got players that are being able to consistently get open, as we highlighted before, Kelly among them, and Mazarai as well, generating a lot of the offense when he's on the field, going under. And then he's also got the skills to turn around and boost it, which is such a threatening combination often. But that's half time. Newcastle I-beam up 8-6. We'll take a quick break and be back to join you for the second half of the Ultimate Australia coverage of the Australian Ultimate Championships here in Runaway Bay, Gold Coast.
So welcome you back from the halftime break. Mirror half means I-beam will have the pull going right to left. I-beam in green, Sublime in black on the left side of the screen. Sublime just making some minor changes to their lineups. Just, I think, to stop the deep threats that I-Beam have been pulling out in the first half. So it's been a couple of different play styles. I-Beam very much willing to go for the long bombs, whereas Sublime quite happy to work it up. They probably don't have a lot of deep receivers. They rely a lot on their quicks though, and it's been working well for Sublime.
Tim Booth set to pull for I-Beam to kick off the second half.
McMurran to field the disc again. To Bocci. Just working it up the middle there. Kelly manages to get free. There's a different matchup.
Big
Trying to shut
there.
down Kelly. Put some pressure on him, let him know that his quickness ain't going to help him this time. There's a beautiful pass there. Now they're going for something deep, but really to no one.
Foul on the throw by the look of it.
Ely possibly the intended receiver there. If it had floated a bit more, then it possibly could have set up for him, but it was covered well though.
Yeah, De Silva did a good job being there. He was hustling hard.
Bocci with a beautiful pass back to the middle to Kelly. Nair getting in the action. A nice cross cut, but that's looked off. Mazurai with a nice, beautiful cross field for a lovely score there.
That was a nice throw by Mazurai to the fat side. Petoni Vran just overran the mark just a little bit, and Mazurai's not going to let him get away with that. Immediately looks to the break side, the fat side of the field, lots of space, and the cutter and he were in sync beautifully.
I think that was McMorran for his second.
As we see it again, beautiful fat side, outside in forehand, acres of space, and Sublime come out of the gate strong in the second half. It's good to see.
Yeah, they'll be wanting to cut that 8-6 lead back and make it 9-8 as soon as they can, just so that they can stamp their authority on this game and let I-Beam know that they're not going to be a walkover.
Yeah, and we saw at that point Pukalis matching up on Kelly, which was a new look from I-Beam. He had a bidding layout on one of the unders, and he didn't get there, but I think that probably sends a message to Kelly that I-Beam are aware and they've got a response to his quickness, and we'll see how that matchup develops. That's one we'll track throughout the rest of the game. See what Kelly can do, if he can continue to be a source of goals for Sublime, or whether I-Beam have the answer.
It's a nice pull by Ha. That'll land just in.
And Davey will get things started. Isolating a player out of the side stack again. And Stoddard.
Some nice air there.
Yeah, it gets up very nicely over Kanziri, who's rocking a pretty spectacular moustache today. I'm a big fan, but it wasn't good enough to help him get over Stoddard.
That point just really exemplifies what I said earlier about the differences in styles that the two teams have. I-Beam, one pass, one pull, score. That's what they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And that plays into maybe the fact that their fitness and legs quite aren't there, but it doesn't matter if you're only having to play really short points like that. Whereas Sublime maybe a little happier to grind it out, really dig deep. And if they continue to do that, that'll probably have a bigger negative impact on I-Beam than it will in Sublime. I-beam D-line on the field. Steve Dowdle set to pull with the big lefty backhand.
Shield field the disc this time, back to Bocce and back to Shield again. Backing out some stats. I've been putting on a zone now. That's taken care of quite quickly. It's a bit Swiss cheesy with a hole there through the middle. Very easy. It's going to be a layout to catch that one. Really making it look so easy there. And it was as though there was absolutely no I-beam defense there as well. I-beam would be very unhappy, and you see them walking off, heads down a little bit flat after that. They thought that that might stop that short play, but it didn't at all.
Yeah, no, Sublime offense looked beautiful. They're going straight through the cup a couple of times. I-beam playing a bit of a pommy defense there, I think it was. Sublime able to cut through it, find the gaps. Some nice quick handler movement as well. Never really allowing the cup lots of time to clamp down and close those holes. Having said that, I would love to see see I-beam give that another go. I think often teams are too quick to give up on a defensive switch up. They'll try it once and it doesn't work, and they'll immediately go back to their vanilla forehand force or just their single coverage. I'd like to see them have another go. Try and tighten that cup a little bit and slow down the handlers. That from behind cut where the handler was coming through the cup and getting the little pop pass was really effective at that point. So we'll see if maybe they can adjust slightly with their cup's positioning and with their crashes to prevent that.
Key here for Sublime now is how they're going to look in their defensive posture. They've really got to look at I-beam's setup and stop them going deep. They're key players that go deep. They should know them by now. They should be able to stop that.
Greenfield fields the pull. Finds Hill. They've got Dallywater isolated on the left-hand side of the field.
And immediately we see them forcing them under.
And they find Hayes open in the middle, taking advantage of the fact his defender had poached off a little bit into the lane. And I-beam have transitioned now into what looks like a horizontal offense.
I-beam with more passes than they're used to.
Yeah, having to work really hard for this one, working the unders. Something new for them. It's Lindsay Brown finds Hill. Hill goes to Stoddard, but it looks like there was a call back behind the play. And Stoddard's still unaware of where the disc needs to go. And now they're going to figure out what happens. It was a travel call maybe 5 passes ago on Greenfield. And they'll all walk back to where they were. And we've got the front double bicep signal from the game advisors indicating a pick has occurred in the stack. And we'll go again. Stoddard finds Dallywater. Back to the centre to Stoddard, getting it off the line. And the swing to Greenie. Greenfield finds Stoddard in front of a bidding Osborne. Lindsay Brown directs traffic. Goes to Davey. And the little flip to Hayes, who blows a kiss at the sideline. I like that as a celebration. I-beam will be happy with that one. They had to work hard for it, but they got there in the end.
Yeah, so Sublime changing up the defensive structure and tactics there. They were definitely stopping the deep there. Unfortunately for them, in doing so, they're really giving them too much of an easy under. I like them stopping the deep, but I don't want them to give so much of an easy under at the moment, because we're at the top end of Australian Ultimate here. We're at the Australian Ultimate Championships here, and any player here can have an easy under and just work it up the field. So it's good that they recognised I-Beam's style of offensive play and cut that out, but they also just need to tighten up on the unders.
Yeah, perhaps it's the case of the pendulum swinging a little too far. They said we need to stop the deeps.
Yep.
Maybe they've overcommitted on that. So they've ticked that box, they've stopped the deeps. Now they need to maybe adjust just a little bit back the other way and really hustle on those unders.
Exactly, not too much. They've got a game plan now. They've obviously came out after half and said, look, this is what we need to do. JD's spoken to the troops. He's spoken to his main players. In fact, all of them, I think, were covering the deeps then. I was thinking it might only be a couple of the I-Beam long cutters, that have been in the play so far, but that's obviously it's a group thing, it's a whole team thing at the moment for defence.
Yeah. Saying across the board, we're going to pay a little more attention to those long throws. And I-Beam, to their credit, responded well. Happy to work the unders, play patient when they had to, and they got there. So they responded well. And now Steve Dowder with the pull to get play restarted.
Mazraoui gets a couple of touches. Still not out of their defensive third. Sublime now move it to their defensive brick mark. There's the up. Will he lay out for that? No, he won't. Gained a bit of yardage on that, but would he preferred control?
Yep. Just a throwaway, unfortunately. And Tim Booth will pick it up as I-Beam look to respond. McGillivray getting a little stuck, having to go over the top to Booth, and Booth not able to reel it in. A very difficult throw.
Yeah, that was very bladey. The underside of the disc being shown to the wind gods and just taking it.
Yeah. I think Gillivray got a bit stuck there. It was a high stall count situation. Didn't like any of the dump options being offered to him. Had to try for the bailout. Quick turnover. And Bocce to Mazraoui for the goal. So we see it again. Nice and easy. Quick response. Not giving I-Beam time to react. And that brings it back to within one. Now Newcastle will have to respond to that. That was a offensive line from Sublime getting the hold despite turning over once. So the Newcastle defense getting half their job done, generating the turns, and they'll just want to convert them a little more reliably than they did that time.
Yeah, it was interesting way Sublime put on quite a zony defence on the players on the end zone to get that turn, and it worked very effectively.
Oh, and the pull's been bobbled by Greenfield, who gets it quickly to Davey. And I-Beam run out of the side sack this time, but flood all their cutters bar Hill across the field, leaving Hill coming under. It's a good variation on the side stack, which if it does become too predictable,
there's that free player.
Lindsay Brown looking for Hill. Osborne seemed to make up a lot of ground, but then misread it. And Hill showing why he's a veteran, reads it perfectly onto his chest all the way.
Yeah, Hill gave the defence the indication that he was going to jump early for it, but had all the intent of the world just to slightly shade the defender out of it.
So we get another look at it. Hill starts off with a huge amount of separation. The disc maybe floats a little longer than he would have liked. Osborne's working really hard to make up the ground, but cuts the angle a little fine and misreads the disc, leading to Hill taking it nice and easy with two hands.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what caused that separation. It might have been a bit of a poach off, maybe trying to help out another defender. But again, if you don't stick to the game plan of stopping the deeps, then that is going to be the end result all the time against this I-beam team. I was watching Vernon on Sublime defense. He was shading like 3 meters, 4 meters deep of his player. Just did not want to give him the deep at all.
Chris Hill, obviously a very difficult matchup to do that to, because you know if you give him the easy unders, he's going to punish you with his throws. So the challenge of marking a powerful deep cutter as well as someone who can throw is one that will trouble Sublime throughout this game. As Ryan Davey sends the ball downfield.
Oh, that was close. Nice run down there. Now again, it looks like I-beam allowing the unders a little bit, and that's just pumped too far. Yeah, Sublime don't really have this long game going as well as I-beam do, I feel. Are they just punting it, do you think, just to keep I-beam honest, to keep them guessing that they could do it, or what?
Yeah, look, that's always an option, and there's definitely credit for taking that option sometimes. You need to keep the opposition offense, and that has to be a realistic shot, but I think it's a case of picking the right options, the ones that are real threats. Davey reaching for Dowdle.
Lovely
tapped by
second
Kelly,
grab there.
showing that he's not just an offensive force to be reckoned with, but he can get the job done on defense.
Mazraoui cleans up that defense. Mazraoui wants to get in the action here. He's leaving his man behind. High stall count, dump. Bocce, and that was never
Steve
on.
Dowdle. Diving interception, one-handed. Just rips it out of the air, and he immediately goes long to Ryan Davey, who jumps it in. And that's a break for I-beam.
Yeah, McMorrin was close by, but really didn't have the legs to catch up to that one. Maybe even hoping or thinking he might not be able to jump it in, but it was a beautiful jump in by I-beam.
Yeah. Some heroics from both sides that point. Kelly for Sublime getting a beautiful block, showing his athleticism can be used versatilely on both offense and defense, but then I-beam able to respond.
In every sense of the way I'm going to say this, I-beam are really showing a clean set of heels to Sublime. They're now pulling away in every sense. They're taking control of this game. Sublime, just looking at their body language at the moment, you can see that they're sort of like thinking, what can we do now? What are we going to do to get this back? Whereas I-beam, you look at them on the line, and as they're congratulating everyone, you know, they're still quite joyous. So they've got the momentum with them, and they've got the chance to now just really take it at 15.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw there again, Steve Dowdle's big interception was a crucial play to get the disc back after Kelly's heroics. And that's often really demoralizing when your team, like it happened here for Sublime, makes a big play, gets the disc when they need it, like Kelly did, and then immediately has it turned over again. That can be really disheartening because it can feel like you've done everything possible and it's still not enough. So this is a real test of the mental resilience of Sublime, whether they can stick to their guns, stick to their game plan, keep running hard, and take this game down to the wire. I-beam obviously will look to consolidate here, maybe try and get another one in. They've got their wind at their backs in this point as it comes left to right and away from the camera.
Yeah, if I was IBM, I'd probably try to stop the unders just fractionally, make them punt it into the wind, maybe get a bit of height on it, and let it float, and then they'll get the numbers underneath it to D it. But let's see what happens in reality. Theory is one thing. Got a bit of poachy D on the handlers. There's that big pull that I was talking about.
And despite the bid by Mazrai to clean it up and get the trash, it's I-beam disc coming in. Petoni Vran will get it checked in by Mazrai. Immediately dumps it to Booth. See if Newcastle can get a bit of structure here. Booth doesn't waste any time. Immediately returns it to Petoni Van, who takes a great grab over the bidding Bocce. Bocce giving up 4 or 5 inches to Petoni Van. Does a great job to get in that contest, but Petoni Van takes advantage of his big frame, gets up nice and early, plucks it out of the sky. And that's a great consolidation. We see it again here. PV, as he's known, dumps it to Booth, immediately hustles straight to the end zone, doesn't mess around, and Booth likes the option. Booth obviously a very strong thrower. Bam. Bocce making a good effort to be involved, but I-beam were not to be denied.
No, I think a lesson there for defense is that my feeling is that they're in their heads at the moment. They're not too sure what they should be doing, and I just saw 2 I-beam players streak deep of their players, had 2 or 3 meters on the defensive player, and they just dropped the ball on their game plan and let I-beam in just like that. So a really good lesson for any defense out there, that just stick to the game plan, the team plan. Make sure that when you're on the field, you're not in your head, and you're giving 100%. Mental game, so important.
Yeah, absolutely. You can hear Sublime firing each other up in their team huddle here. Newcastle maybe keeping a little cooler, calm and collected. They're happy with where they're at. For them, it's just business as usual. Let's keep going. We're on the right track. And we'll get it back underway. Over these 4 days, I-beam have shown their versatility as a club. They're not just an ultimate frisbee club, they're also a table tennis powerhouse. They've been running the I-beam Ping Pong Championships of 2017 over the last couple of days. And we're up to the 3rd round of competition, I believe. Greenfield went out in the 2nd round, going down to
That's BS.
Mike McKee took him down.
No. I beat him on day 1 and he said it was just a practice round.
Greenfield denies it. He's denying it. He says it was a practice round. Beaten on a technicality, apparently. So we'll keep you updated through the week as to how that goes. Chris Hill's made a good charge into the 3rd round of the competition as well. And Tim Booth, apparently a force to be reckoned with, not just with the disc in hand, but also with the ping pong bat.
So Sublime under the pump here at the moment. 1 turnover here, and I feel that's it.
Oh, Tim Booth.
Lovely bid. And that's probably the turnover, I'd say. I'm going to call it there.
Tim Booth showing age, hasn't slowed him down. Picks it up. Little under to PV. Nice inside flick, but Pete Ely gets horizontal as he's known to do. Gets the block that Sublime needs. That's a great way for him to step up and lead by example as the captain of this team.
Oh, with the disc. Wind behind his back. Mazrai. Bocce. Kelly drops it. He's unhappy.
Sinclair immediately picks it up. Looks to move it. And then Hill sends one deep for Stoddard. This combination's been deadly all game. Kylo on his back. Bit of contact.
What's
and it
he
bounced
gonna
out of Stoddard's
do?
hand. Looks like they're going to have a chat about it. Perhaps a foul was called. So we see the throw go up again from Hill. Reaching for Stoddard. This connection's been so reliable for them. So fruitful.
Body to body all the way.
Yeah. Kyle O does a great job to get involved. Does get a bit of...
Takes out his legs, really. Stops him from getting that second effort.
Bit of contact. And they'll figure it out.
O realising that there's a lot on the line here. Really wanting to talk it out.
And it looks like...
Game advisors being called in.
Yeah, they'll provide the clarification on the rules and their perspective if asked, but their decisions aren't binding. So it's still up for the players to make the decision on what will happen.
Unless O gives this one up, which I don't think he will do given the game score, and that's not a reflection on him at all. I think it's going to be sent back to the previous thrower. Yeah, and it's being sent back. Probably at this point in time, not such a bad result.
Oh, it looks like the foul may have been uncontested. But it turns out there was also a travel call on the throw.
It was just waiting for that one to pop up after they sorted whether it came back or not.
Yeah, they waited plenty of time before announcing that one to the crowd.
Everyone was looking in the wrong direction for the call. Wind's picked up a little bit more.
And play restarts after a bit of confusion. Hill with the disc, still looking for the end zone, ends up taking Booth underneath. Little dish pass, Booth wants it straight back though. Crucial moment in the game like this, expect Booth to really just want the disc in his hands as much as possible. But he streams deep instead. Tronny Van finds Booth again. And Booth, reaching for his player.
Went like a rocket, had to reach out the left hand, only got it in time just to block it really, not to catch it.
Yeah, Liam Heather did a good job there, but not able to reel it in, unfortunately. So you see it again. Quick pass, maybe he wasn't quite expecting it, and the defender, Pete Ely, was right there, making it a difficult take. And we're back in.
Last thing they need is a Callahan here, but they've got it out their end zone very well. With the wind behind them, they really want hard cutters, and Kelly made a hard cut deep then. It might have been off camera. Just really needs to use his acceleration and go in those moments.
Absolutely, and he's marked up by Sinclair, so I think Kelly probably does have the pace advantage in that matchup. We'll see whether he can use that to Sublime's advantage. Hand block by Jack Gray.
Yeah, great hand block there.
Delivering when his team needed it. And then Pete Ely responds.
Nice D.
Poaching off his player, seeing that Booth wanted to pass it to Hill.
Yeah, Ely not giving up there and just putting more gas on the accelerator to get through, run through that D, while the I-beam player was quite content just to catch it at half stride.
And we've got another call, and it'll come back.
Pick was the call on that one. Ely still in the open by a good 5 metres. Poaching the lane there to prevent that. And another run through.
Yeah, that was a Jack Gray again. It's his second block for the point. First a hand block, then a run through. He's really on fire. and he calls the timeout.
Yeah, Mazrai jumping to catch that, but when you jump to catch those, you also got to jump to box out the defensive effort, and he didn't do that enough. He either should have run through that or jumped a little bit more to the right to box out the defender. He didn't do that. He just jumped to catch it on the chest, and the result was a turnover.
Yeah, Jack Gray making a great effort to get involved this point. Got a hand block earlier in the point, and there gets the run-through block. Really doing work for the I-Beam offense. And I-Beam really saying, you know, we're not content to just do this on offense. We want to finish this game right now. Our defensive line is going to get the blocks, it's going to get the turns, and then it's going to convert them into breaks all the way to the end.
Look, this has been a long point. I said at the outset that, you know, Sublime just need to lift, and to their credit, I have seen them lift during this long point, which just goes to show they still have a lot of fight left in them. Let's wait to see what the setup is. I-Beam just 10 metres out from their offensive end zone. Again, probably an isolation is what I do. There's really no need to change from that. It's always a good play when you're close to the end zone. You might see a handler cut in there.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for them beautifully last time. They had the isolated player, they swung, and then hit that isolated player for the goal. So I expect them to do something very similar this time.
There's the ISO. Let's look at the handler matchup.
They've got Chris Hill isolated in space, and then they've got Tim Booth in the dump, and Jack Gray will be picking up the disc. We'll see what happens. They may look to get it off the sideline quickly, but instead they'll just take the goal to Chris Hill in the front corner. Does a good job of towing it in with Osborne right on his back, but he's got safe hands and great awareness.
Excellent line awareness then. Had left his foot in while he caught it just in front of the line. Beautiful work.
And that takes it to 14-9. I-Beam on the doorstep.
Match point.
A good victory. As we see it again here, the nice throw, and Hill does a great job in front of the bidding Osborne to keep his left foot in that corner of the end zone as he took the grab. Sublime have a bit of a mountain to climb if they want to get back in this. They're going to have to score 6 unanswered points.
Not impossible, I'd say, but at this point in time, unlikely.
Yeah, and as we're speaking, the wind's picking up, really going left to right, which means this offensive point for Sublime will be upwind, will be difficult.
I-Beam with their favourite downwind huck as well.
Yeah, a real threat on the turn. Despite the match point situation, it looks like I-Beam have got a pretty standard defensive line out there, and likewise Sublime just have their standard offensive line on the field. Both teams having faith in their systems to get the job done when it needs to get done.
Yeah, I'd really like to see Sublime here just settle into the game that they know, move it around nicely with their short game. You know, they've got their quicks on the field again. They've got good handlers. The question is there going to be a turn?
Dowdle lining up to launch the lefty backhand for the pull, and here it comes.
McMurray to field that. He'll let it drop. Put it to Bocce. Don't want to air bounce it at the moment. Nair centres it. Francois. There's another jump by Mazrai. Almost a repeat of what we saw before.
Yeah, Jack Gray really giving Mazrai a lot of trouble.
Nice movement there. A bit of an air bounce in that one. That's not what they wanted to see.
And Dowdle
This will probably finish it
deep.
off. No, just a bit far out.
De Silva not able to track it down. Maybe the wind pushing it just a little bit further.
That was great work by the defender Kelly, because it caused I-Beam to sort of like second guess where he needed to catch it, made him slow down, made him change his angles, look behind himself, wasn't able to accelerate onto the disc where it was going to land. So that was great work by Kelly.
So we see it again, yeah, Kelly making up a lot of distance and really getting into Silver's head about what he needed to do to get that disc. And Sublime get a second chance.
Take 2 for Sublime. And that just was not spot on the man at all. Beautiful.
Kelly!
Francois with the disc.
Yeah, McGillivray
Just on
did
the
a great job
halfway
getting a
line.
hand to it. But then Ryan Kelly cleans up the scraps.
Bocce with another one, this time still high. They haven't counted that wind yet.
And De Silva cleans it up and they immediately get it moving to Dowdle. The wind clearly playing a factor in a lot of these turns, making the disc bobble up, pop up. The wind gets underneath it. It makes it difficult to catch.
Can see frustration getting in Sublime's game, making a few more calls than maybe they did during the match, just to keep their heads in the game, I feel. Doesn't mean it's not there. That consistency is what we need on the calls.
Now I-Beam have another chance to put this game into the record books. McGillivray immediately back to Dowdle. They're looking to move it quickly. You can feel the intensity rise from the sideline. Gray gets it back to Dowdle. Moving it quickly through Pucalis. Back to Dowdle. And McGillivray bobbles it straight through their hands, and Francois
Cleans up to McMorrin. McMorrin straight on to Mazarai. Francois in the play again. A little bit of an air bounce into that one. McMorrin free. The call was possibly travel. Pick was the call, is what I've got here from the game advisor on my side and the far side.
It's game time for I-Beam defense. They'll really want to get the disc back here. A bidding Dowdle may have hurt himself in the process. Looks like shoulder potentially.
I think it hit him on, yeah, maybe the elbow, lower arm, high lower arm or low high arm. Just clutching that right arm either way.
It's a great bid, but it's good to see I-Beam putting their bodies on the line, leaving it all on the field.
It was great spirit by
could be the
Kyle.
last
He
point.
recognised that the I-Beam player was hurt immediately and didn't play on. Just good concern all round for teammates, whether they're just fellow players.
Ryan Davey subs on. Always a good substitution to make. And he'll be marking up on Kylo, that matchup that's been a great one to watch throughout the game.
Francois is really free. It's a nice one through there. Oh, Bocce just puts a bomb up. This could be anyone's. Whose
Everyone's
is it?
underneath it.
Nair brings it down. Nair reads it so well.
And
At the back of the play, one of the smallest players for Sublime on the field, but he reads it and he picks it up.
Yeah. So you see it again. The air really gets underneath it. The wind making that disc float up high. You get a scrum underneath it. Half a dozen players. Everyone goes up far too early and then behind. Nair cleaning up the scraps, showing you don't have to be over 6 foot to take the big ones.
What a time for Nair to make an appearance on the field. He's been quiet all game, and that was really a big one. That was needed by Sublime to lift the team. You saw the whole team just run on with excitement then. It was good stuff.
I think Monty Mazerai may have got a fingernail on that as it went past. That's a second assist of the game so far for him. Bocci, however, probably won't be happy with that throw. Obviously a good result for Sublime, but the wind clearly having an impact now. It's picked up both teams not completing all the passes that they'd like. And maybe this is an opportunity for the I-beam veteran handlers to step up and show the class of their throws in these difficult conditions. The wind really gusting left to right, which means I-beam offense have to go the full 80 yards into the wind. Big inside out backhand coming down for the pull. And Ryan Davey to receive. It looks like Sublime have busted out a zone. They've only done it once before this game, and I-beam went through it like a hot knife through butter. Davey showing that he can throw overheads in this breeze.
Lovely flat hammer.
Yeah, Lindsay Brown moving it quickly now. Nice handler movement. No one holding it for more than a second or two. Davey going over the top again.
Lucky to get that.
He's the one showing that he can make those difficult throws in the conditions that maybe Sublime have struggled with.
Nice hole made there. That could be floating out the back, I think.
And Hayes, maybe a little over eager to get it into the end zone.
Definitely overzealous.
Yeah, it's a little white line fever there. Stoddard was open in the back corner, but a difficult throw in the wind to hit your target on the chest and not have it float like it did over his head and out the back corner.
So I-beam choosing single coverage in this instance. Not really the ideal position to bring it out of your defensive end zone. Right on that far end zone with the wind behind you. Maybe pushing it out even further. That's a beautiful break there. Almost into the ground though. Picks it up one hand. That's Jennings, who again we haven't seen much of.
Oh wow, Hayes, redemption, gets it back. Greenfield immediately picks it up. Hayes hustling hard in the end zone to get open, and Greenfield staring at him. Doesn't like what he sees. Goes to Davey in the dump, who does a nice little jink. And he hits a wide open Chris Stoddard for the goal and for the win.
There's the game.
15-10. Newcastle I-beam getting up over Perth Sublime.
Yeah, what a game that was. It was really a contrast in play styles, wasn't it, Max?
Yeah, absolutely. And some really athletic plays from both teams as we had another look at that final goal. Davey to Stoddard. Stoddard obviously racking up the stats this game. He's got a number of goals for I-beam. And we saw I-beam just a little bit too strong for Sublime today, especially in this weather. That played a key factor throughout. What lessons do you think Sublime are going to take away for their next match?
Well, I think defensively they have to stick to the game plan. I did really like, as I said at the beginning of the second half, the way that they changed up their defensive style. They adapted to what I-beam was throwing at them, and they shut them down. They just needed to be tighter on the unders, as we said before, but just really stop the deets. Really stop the deets. When you got teams which have the height over them, and let's face it, Sublime aren't really a heighty team. No offense to their coach at all, obviously. He's just walking past and giving me the eye.
Not exactly leading by example in that department.
But just sticking to their game plan on defense, not dropping the ball on that. And on offense, just really backing themselves, having the confidence for their unders. They've got their two quicks players, Francois and Kelly. Use them a lot more. And I think work it up the field. I don't think the number of touches that you have should affect at this level. Everyone should have the throws, they should have the catches, it should be safe. You expect a couple of drops and maybe throwaways during the game, but Sublime showed point again that they can work it up the field. Having 100 passes almost. So, they've got the skill, they've got the talent, they've just got to use it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think we'll wrap it up there for our first game of day 2 on the Gold Coast here at Runaway Bay. This has been the Ultimate Australia coverage of the Australian Ultimate Championships for 2017. I've been Max Stenstrom.
Phil Shields signing off.
See you soon.